Hello friends, welcome to all of you in yet another video on the history of Chhattisgarh. Today in this video we will be talking about the Mahajanpad era. In our previous videos we already have talked about Ramayana era and Mahabharata era which formed the epic era. So the epic era was followed by Mahajanpada era. So in Mahajanpada era, entire India was divided in 16 Mahajanpadas. So what was the condition of Chhattisgarh then? And what Mahajanpada did Chhattisgarh make a part of? So to find the answer of all these questions, we have to take in consideration the statements given by two great scholars. One of them is Hiralal. So the historian Hiralal, the archaeologist Hiralal says that Chhattisgarh was a part of Chedi Mahajanpada and the capital of Chedi Mahajanpada was Shuktimati or Shaktimati. Later on, this Chedi Mahajanpada came to be known as Chhattisgarh, and slowly it turned out to be Chhattisgarh. So this is the opinion expressed by Hiralal. Now, there is another scholar whose name is G.V. Pelgar. So what about G.V. Pelgar? Okay, so G.V. Pelgar gives an interesting account behind the nomenclature of Chhattisgarh. What is that account? According to G.V. Pelgar, the king of Magadha of Mahabharata era, whose name was Jarasan, he was very cruel. And because of his atrocities, people fled from his kingdom and they came to this region, which is today known as Chhattisgarh. So they came here and they settled themselves in the form of 36 houses. So 36 is called Chhattis in Hindi and houses are called Ghar in Hindi. So that Chhattisgarh later on became Chhattisgarh. So these are the two prominent opinions expressed by two historians and scholars. One, Hiralal, who says that Chhattisgarh was a part of Chedi Mahajanpada. Chedi Mahajanpada with time came to be known as Chhattisgarh and ultimately it converted into Chhattisgarh. And G.V. Pelgar says that the origin of the name of Chhattisgarh is from two words, Chhattis and Ghar. And these 36 houses were settled by those people who fled from Magadha because of the atrocities made by Jarasandh. So these are the two prominent historians and their views. Now, in this Mahajanpada era, there were two prominent religions who challenged the Vedic Brahmanism. These two prominent religions were Buddhism and Jainism. So in today's video, we will talk about Buddhism, that what was the significance of Buddhism and what influence does the Buddhism held or holds today. Okay, so let's start with the Buddhism. So there are four personalities who are very famous in Buddhist canons. When I say canons, I mean Dharma Granth. Okay, so there are four personalities who are linked with Buddhism and they were linked with Chhattisgarh as well. What are those four personalities? Well, these are Lord Buddha himself, then Nagarjuna, Ananda and Xuanzang. This Xuanzang is also known as Bhensang in Hindi and he was a Chinese traveler. So let's talk about Lord Buddha. According to Buddhist canon, I'm again clarifying here that canon is nothing but the religious text. So Dharma Granth or religious text is called canon. So according to Buddhist canon, Avadhan Shatak, Buddha visited Sirpur, which is a part of Chhattisgarh and today it is located in Mahasamund district. Okay, so ultimately, according to Avadhan Shatak, Buddha visited Chhattisgarh and the main motive of his this visit was to stall the warlike conditions between two kings. These two kings were King Vijayas and Prasenjit. So Buddha visited Chhattisgarh for stalling warlike conditions between King Vijayas and Prasenjit. Okay, and Sirpur was the place which was visited by Buddha. So that is why Sirpur is considered as a very important center of Buddhism in Chhattisgarh. Now, the next person is Nagarjuna. So Nagarjuna visited Chhattisgarh in the 1st century AD. And when he visited Chhattisgarh, this area was under the influence of Satwahan rulers. Now, it is said that Satwahan rulers had constructed a 5-storied building for the rest and relaxation of Buddha when he had visited the region. Okay, so this is all about Nagarjuna. What is the important thing that we need to remember? The thing is that the Nagarjuna visited Chhattisgarh in the 1st century AD. Okay, and again he visited Sirpur. So every time the importance of Sirpur was accentuated by all those people who were linked with Buddhism. Now, the next person was Anand. Okay, so he was also known as Prabhu Anand, and he was the dearest disciple to Buddha. He also visited Sirpur and constructed Swastika Vihara. This Swastika Vihara came to be known as Prabhu Anand Kuti Vihara later on, but some scholars suggest that it was constructed in the 6th century AD. So this is all about Ananda, who was the dearest disciple of Buddha. Now let's talk about a very important figure, not only in the history of Chhattisgarh but also in the history of India, and he was Xuanzang or Wensang. Okay, so Xuanzang or the Wensang was a Chinese traveler and a monk and a scholar at the same time. So when he visited Chhattisgarh, it was 639 AD, and he visited Chhattisgarh during the reign of Mahashivgupta Balarjuna. He was a very capable and famous king of the Pandu dynasty. So during the reign of Mahashivgupta Balarjuna in 639 AD, Wensang or Xuanzang visited Chhattisgarh. So when he visited Chhattisgarh, he described this place in his travelogue, and his travelogue is known as ZUG. Now I understand that you people might be getting confused that all of the Hindi books write it as CUK. Okay, but when you try to find out this place, or sorry, this book on internet, it is written as ZUG. So what is written as CUK in Hindi books? Actually it is ZUG, maybe it was pronounced as CUK. Okay, and it was the book written by Wensang. It was his travelogue, which is called Yatra Vritant in Hindi. Okay, so Wensang wrote his travelogue and he named it ZUZ or CUK. In that travelogue, in that book, he also mentioned Kosala as Q Saw Lo. So he mentioned Kosala as Q Saw Lo. Definitely it was his difficulty of pronunciation, so he called it Q Saw Lo. And in Hindi books you get this name by the word Kiaslo. Okay, so basically it was Q Saw Lo. So let's summarize it. Okay, so the Chinese traveler Xuanzang, who was a monk and scholar, visited Chhattisgarh in 639 AD during the reign of Mahashivgupta Balarjuna, who was the king of Pandu dynasty, and he wrote a travelogue, and the name of that travelogue was ZUG or CUK, and he mentioned Chhattisgarh with the name of Kiaslo or Kyusalo. He wanted to say Kosla, but he could not pronounce it, so he called it Kyusalo. So this is all about the people who were very, very important in Buddhism, and they had visited Chhattisgarh. Now let's talk about the places, that what are the places which are very, very prominent and important from the point of view of the Buddhism. So let's start one by one. So the first important place is Turturia. Turturia is a place located in Balauda Bazar district. And what is the importance of Turturia? Turturia is a place where there used to be once a Buddhist vihara, and this Buddhist vihara belonged to Mauryan age. And what is the speciality of this vihara? Okay, the speciality of this vihara was that it was an all women's vihara. So only women's Buddhist vihara belonging to the Mauryan age had once existed in a place called Turturia, which is located in today's Balauda Bazar district. Now what is vihara? So vihara is a place in Buddhism which is constructed for rest and relaxation of the Buddhist monk. So in Turturia, which is located in today's Balauda Bazar, okay, there used to be only women's Buddhist vihara which belonged to the Mauryan age. Now the next place is Pragyagiri Hill. Now, Pragyagiri Hill is located in Dongargarh, and here a huge statue, a huge idol of Lord Buddha has been installed. And every year, International Buddhist Conference is held here since 1992. So since 1992, International Buddhist Conference is held at Pragyagiri Hill, where a very huge Buddhist statue has been installed. So Pragyagiri Hill is another place. Now the next place is Manpat. Manpat is a hill station in Sarguja, which is famous for its scenic beauty. So actually Buddhist monks or the Buddhist people, the Tibetan peoples, okay, they have been given refuge over there and Buddhist temples have been constructed. So that is why it is a very important Buddhist site today in Chhattisgarh. The next one is Malhar or which is located in Bilaspur district. Malhar was known as Mallal Pattan, okay, because it was a river port, okay, or simply Mallal. So Mallal or Malhar, okay, is a very important Buddhist site because many Buddhist idols have been recovered from that place. So during excavations, many Buddhist idols have been recovered from a place called Malhar. Malhar's ancient name is Mallal Pattan. Pattan means port because it was a river port. Okay. Now the next very important place is Sondra, which is located in Raipur district. Okay. So what is the speciality of this place called Sondra? In Sondra, the torso of the Buddhist statues have been found. That means the upper part of the Buddhist statues have been found at a place called Sondra, which is located in Raipur district. Now, the very important place concerning the Buddhism is Bhongapal. Now, Bhongapal is a place located in Kondagaon district. What is the speciality of Bhongapal? Well, a huge Buddha statue has been installed there, and apart from that huge Buddha statue, okay, there are two ancient mounds have been found. Okay, one is the Chaitya temple mound. Okay, so Chaitya is a Buddhist architecture which was synonymous with the temple. So Chaitya temple mound has been found over there, and the locals call it as Dokra Baba Tila. Okay, so the locals of Kondagaon, the locals of Bhongapal, they call this Chaitya temple mound as Dokra Baba Tila. Okay, and there is another mound which has been recovered, and it was called the Saptamatrika mound. So this Saptamatrika mound is called by the locals as Rani Tila. So Bhongapal is a very important Buddhist site in Kondagaon district of Chhattisgarh. A huge Buddha statue is there. Apart from that, a Chaitya temple mound has been recovered, which is called by Dokra Baba Tila by the locals, and the Saptamatrika mound has also been recovered, which is called as Rani Tila by the locals. So this is all about Buddhism in this video. In the next video, we will cover Jainism. Thank you.